Hi guys, I'm Benjamin, and today's topic for College Survival 101 is how to read an academic article. So what is an academic article? When professors talk about academic articles, they're usually referring to a piece that's aimed at an academic audience and published in a peer-reviewed journal. Peer-reviewed means that prior to publishing, an article has been reviewed by academic experts in the relevant field of study. Examples of peer-reviewed journals include the American Historical Review, the Yale Law Journal, and Evolution, the International Journal of Organic Evolution. Recently, there's been a push to move academic writing into the digital age via digitally published open-source journals and peer-review blogging. The value and quality of some of these resources is still being debated by the academic community, so check with your professor before using them. So, let's jump to actually reading an article. Here's one. Okay. So our article for today is The Cost and Price of College and the Value of Higher Education, published in Academic Questions in 1998. This is a lot of text. And it's really long. How are we going to make any sense out of this? When learning to write academically, we're taught to have an opening statement or thesis that nutshells our argument, right? We then use the rest of the paper to flesh out that argument. Few academics actually write that way. They assume, often correctly, that they're writing for an audience that's already familiar with their work and area specialty. So many dive straight into their topic, and the hapless undergrad may not be able to pick out what the heck it is that they're actually trying to argue until you get to the end of the article. So, start at the end. Even the most confusing academics will usually summarize their major points and thoughts at the end of the article. Jump to the end section. It will often be labeled conclusion or summary, though whatever the final header is probably a summary. In this particular case, the final header is good value for the money. The main thrust of the entire article is summarized right here in this first paragraph. In fact, it is the only place in the entire article that the main point is actually spelled out. After you finish with the conclusion, go back and read the entire article from the beginning. Now, if the article feels too intimidating, read it in chunks. Most articles will have headers, like this one, Subsidized Higher Education, at various points to break up thoughts. Read one section, take a break, then come back and read another. Whatever size chunks you choose to read in, always write out a short summary of the chunk in your own words before going on to your next chunk. A few sentences to summarize a couple of pages, 200 to 500 words to summarize an entire article. Rereading your own words about a topic is more likely to click with you later when you're reviewing for a test or an assignment than attempting to reskim an entire article. Don't do work more often than you have to. Take 5 to 15 minutes to create a summary for yourself of each article, chapter, and essay that you read. And you will save yourself hours later when you're trying to review what you've studied. If you really want to impress your professors, you can organize your summaries into an annotated bibliography, which is basically a listing of all your summaries with proper citations included for each summary. This can also be a huge time saver for yourself when you're writing a paper, as it means you've already got your citations ready to go before you've written word one. As you read, take notes in the margin, highlight, use little flags, whatever you have to do, whatever makes sense to you, to pull out things that are interesting, unexpected, or seem relevant to your classwork. Even if you never review your margin notes and highlights again, the act of taking 5 extra seconds to reread something and think about it as you make a note or highlight it means that you are more likely to remember it later when you're reviewing. Finally, in terms of reading time, we have all had those days where we just can't get all the reading done before class time. Maybe there were too many assignments due on the same day, you had to work an extra shift, the party ran too late, whatever. It happens, and professors know it happens. However, instead of trying to fluff your way through class, you will feel so much better prepared if you at least read the summary or conclusion of whatever was assigned before going to class. Again, the summary often gives the core of the argument or the material you were assigned. If you at least read that, you should be able to keep up with the discussion and not stick out like a doofus if the professor calls on you for your input. So, to review, read the conclusion first to get the main point of the article. Break your reading into manageable chunks. Don't try to cram it all at once. Summarize whatever you read in your own words for later study and review. And if all else fails, at least read the conclusion. I'm Benjamin, and this has been College Survival 101, How to Read an Academic Article.